Eileo guys, and welcome back. In today's video though, we're taking another look at Cherry because the last review is outdated. Quick shout out here to, I believe it's Shane, for leaving that comment there to indicate to me that, Cherry was indeed outdated. And you guys had also voted on the community tab about her since she is the exotic that you're able to capture right now. So hopefully you have saved your cherries, and let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so I'm starting off here with the dark type, and then we'll move all the way to the fire just because I want to change it up here. So we have Dark Cherry, who is a recovery type, and she's coming in with nearly 26k HP, K attack, and 1.9k defense, and she has a recovery stat of 3.1k. So her recovery stat is pretty good, and I mean her main selling point as a recovery mon is have plenty of recovery to hopefully have potent heals for the squad. Let's go over here and take a look at her skills though. So for her 3-star skill, she has defense down, which grants a 70% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 1 turn. And then for her 5-star skill, she has attack up, which increases your allies' attack power up for 3 turns. So this isn't bad at all. It's just slightly weird though, because she's applying defense down, which if you take into account of this being a Titans mon, which I would highly recommend it being, unless you're in like the Elemental Tower of Chaos or something of that nature. Defense down mons are normally on the left lane and not the right lane, but I mean the attack up does promote some damage, so I'm thinking right here you could potentially use her for your left lane. And I think I saw this on the MSL wiki out there. Some guy had said that you could use this as a substitute for Dark Venus. No, absolutely not. If you take advice from people like that, well, congratulations, you deserve to play yourself. This isn't a substitute for Dark Venus. A substitute for Dark Venus would be Light Baby Shark. That's it. That's it. That's all I could think of right now. So she's kind of a weird champ. I mean, you could use her on the right side of Titans, but is it recommended? Are you looking for like performance out of her in terms of your entire squad? No, because defense down should be being applied on the left lane, so she's in kind of like a weird area where she's usable for now, or she could be a substitute, but I don't really classify her as like an in-game Titans team. But that could just be one man's experience. You could test it out with the whole practice thing going on there and see if she works for you. But I mean, she is here and she's hanging out. Skill book wise though, her defense down receives a 25% damage boost, and it goes up to, what is that, 80% for 1 turn. It's a little bit cringe. And then her attack up receives a 25% boost in recovery as well. Is that, yeah, 80% for 1 turn? Yeah, man. But yep, that's pretty much Dark Cherry. That's the only place I could really think of using her at, because if you need healers for other content depending on what you're doing, that could also be helpful for you. But yeah, moving forward though, we do have Light Cherry, who is a recovery type as well, and she's coming in with 24k HP, 2.4k attack, and then 1.9k defense, and with a 2.8k recovery stat. So once again, still pretty decent recovery, not as potent as the dark one, and for whatever reason this one should be doing slightly more damage. But in the grand scheme of things, that means absolutely nothing at all on a recovery-based Astromon. In terms of her 3-star skill, she has Exposed Weakness, which grants a 70% chance to expose the enemy's weakness for 1 turn. Do note, I saw this on the MSL Reddit, Exposed Weakness does not stack. If you cast Exposed Weakness on the Titan and you have another mon in that same lineup casting Exposed Weakness on the Titan, it's going to take off that Exposed Weakness that you applied first and apply the second one. There's no Exposed Weakness ×2 or anything like that. It does not stack. So make sure you read before you start posting stuff. For her 5-star skill though, she does have defense up, which increases your allies' defense for 3 turns. So she's kind of opposite towards like what Dark Cherry represented, but it's all for good reason, you guys. Skill book wise though, she does go to 80% for 1 turn, and she gets a 25% damage boost on her Exposed Weakness. And then her defense up also receives a 25% recovery up bonus, so recovery boost, making it more potent with healing up the entire squad here. So the biggest difference between her and Dark is obviously the defense up versus attack up here. I think Light Cherry is perfectly usable, especially on the left lane. Once again, is she in-game Titans? No. But to all my people out here wondering about Cherry in general, you're probably new to the game or you don't have too much experience in Titans, and if you were going to use her or plan to use her in Titans, then yeah, you could pick up both light and dark. I think light will serve you a little bit more usefulness in the long run versus dark, but I could be wrong with that. It's just that I haven't seen anyone doing all kinds of damage in Titans run a light or dark cherry in game. I could be wrong, but once again, more of a dedicated Titans mon, which if you can grab a hold of her, go ahead and do it. Then following in after that though, we do have Wood Cherry, who's a tank type, surprisingly, not recovery, and she's sitting at 30k HP, 1.6k attack, and then 1.8k defense. So HP pool is kind of weak, but she is in that 3, so you know, relax man, relax. It could be better, yes, but is it? Nope. This is just the reality we unfortunately live in here. But for her 3-star skill, she comes in with Adrenaline, which attacks restore allies HP in amount equal to 10% of her own max HP. Hint hint, she's a tank type. Hint hint, she has plenty of HP, so hint hint, you should focus a lot on that HP. Hint hint. Oh, and look, for her 5-star skill, she has Shield, which grants a shield to allies proportional to her own max HP for 2 turns. If this doesn't scream HP to you, then congratulations, you may need to go see a doctor, because I'm not qualified to diagnose you with what issues you may have going on here. Do keep in mind though, you can run her triple HP, but if you don't have the defense to back it up, well, congratulations, it's going to be a bad time here. But let's take a look at her skill books real quick. So Adrenaline receives a 30% damage boost, Shield receives a 25% recovery up boost, so her shield is going to heal a little bit more, and it goes to, what is that, 3 turns versus 2? So not too bad. It sucks that Adrenaline didn't go to 15%, but it's out of our hands here. My thoughts on her though is I've seen her used in a Nat 3 league quite a lot, and she can be fairly annoying because she gets that Nat 3 boost with her not high HP, but with the Nat 3 boost it is high HP, and she also has a shield. She basically turns into like a, you could say, like kind of like a wood version of Dark Cupid, but outside of that, I can't really think of where she would be viable at. I mean, if you needed a shield for like Elemental Tribe of Chaos, I guess that's fine. Or if you needed a shield somewhere else and Cherry is all that you have, you could try and go with her. It's just that her HP pool isn't super duper amazing, especially if you have a mon like Dark Cupid. It's like, congratulations Cherry, you're going to the Astro Guide, goodbye and see you. But that's pretty much it that I can think of in terms of Wood Cherry, unless you guys out there have any more big brained ideas. Moving forward though, we're coming in with Water Cherry here, who's a recovery type, and she's rocking 28k HP, 1.7k attack, and then 1.6k defense here with a 2.5 recovery stat. So her recovery is going down. She's getting kind of sus here, my dudes, so her heals may not be as potent as the other ones, because as we go down with the recovery, you'll experience less and less healage from her, unless her books can somehow make up for the lack of recovery that we're getting into. But she is in that 3 though, so it's kind of very, very understandable here. But for her 3-star skill, she has defense down, which grants a 70% chance to reduce the enemy's defense for 1 turn. Sounds very similar to Dark Cherry, doesn't it? And then for her 5-star skill, she has Shield, which grants you shield to allies for 2 turns. Now, since it doesn't indicate HP, she has, in my opinion, the worst version of the shield, which is based on her level. And if I'm recalling correctly, level-based shields obviously don't last anywhere near as much as HP shields, so do keep that in mind here. Her main selling point here is just being able to apply defense down to what you're fighting and then put a shield up for the squad. Is this going to be very helpful for you anywhere? Probably not, because you could bring in a dedicated defense downer like Candling or Shelly or someone of that nature, and then you could probably bring in a better shielder. Like if you gotten Dark Cherry, actually no, if you gotten Light Cherry, then you could just bring Light Cherry in here, because you don't want this. You do not want this. You can even bring Wood Cherry in here, because once again, you don't want this. Book wise though, her defense down goes to 80% chance for 2 turns with a 15% damage increase, and then her shield receives a 25% recovery boost, and that goes up 3 turns as well. Is that shield gonna last 3 turns? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think I've seen her being used in a Nat 3 league though, because defense down, once again, is a debuff which a monster can resist. And if she does get her shield off, well, it's a level based shield. It's not even based off her HP, so it's like it's just very, very lackluster in my opinion, and I can't really think of anywhere to use her outside of that. So build her for the Astro Guide and probably feed her or release her, unless you guys have your own personal thoughts on Water Cherry, which you can leave in the comments below. Alright then, you guys, last but not least here we have Fire Cherry, who's a defender type, and she's coming in with 23k HP, 2k attack, and then 2.9k defense with a whopping amazing 2k recovery stat, meaning that her recovery, aka her healing, is going to be straight up trash without some good recovery subs, if not a recovery gem, which I would highly recommend here. But let's go ahead and take a look at her skills. For her 3-star skill, she has Blind, which grants a 70% chance to blind the foes for 2 turns. And then for her 5-star skill, she has Defense Up here, which increases allies' defense for 2 turns. So once again, more of a Titan-orientated monster. I mean, that's pretty much all the cherries have been, unless they're just garbage, minus the wood one here. So once again, her main selling point is Titans. I can't really think of any other scenario where Blind is important at. But if I'm recalling correctly as well, Blind isn't that important for Wood Titan to begin with. So already her 3-star skill is like, I don't know about that, fam. I don't know about that. Skill book wise though, her Blind receives a 25% damage boost and it goes up to, what is that, 80%? 80% for 2 turns. Defense Up receives a 25% recovery boost, aka more potent heals, and that also goes up to 3 turns instead. So the Defense Up part is perfectly fine. I don't think the Blind part is that big of a deal in terms of skill books. It's just that the overall usage of it isn't super duper amazing. Now, do I use Fire Cherry on my Casio account, which is my secondary account for Titans? Yeah. Why? Because I don't have any pixies on that account. So I'm not saying that you can't use her or that she's not useful. It's just that she's literally just a placeholder until you get pixie, because you should not be running her with like an in-game composition here. So to all my newer players out there that obviously don't have Evo 3 Fire Pixies, I would say definitely pick her up. I mean, you could pick up 2, I guess. I think 1's fine, but you could pick up 2 and run them on 2 of your lanes if you need to. But keep in mind, she is not in-game. I wouldn't even say that she is mid-game. She is like Noob Cake Kid game only. So don't expect super duper amazing performance out of her or any mines that you have in the same lane as her until you upgrade your healers here. So she's just here to get your feet wet and then carry on from there. But that's pretty much it for the cherry reviews. Once again, I'm saying you can use her. Just make sure if you're going to get serious about Titans that you start doing like the Pixie rebirths as well, because Fire Pixie and Light Pixie are straight up smilers, man. But to go ahead and end the video off here, the cherries that you should be looking forward to capturing, number 1 is going to be Light Cherry, Dark Cherry, Fire Cherry. If you like PvP, then you could do Wood Cherry for number 3. And then last but not least is just going to be Water Cherry at number 5,566. So that leaves a slot in a number 4 slot for Fire Cherry instead. And that's pretty much it here, because while I got you guys here, let me look real quick at somebody who is extremely outdated as well. Yeah, she has the same thing as Fire Verde. She has Blind on her 3-star skill. And let me tell you guys how useful Fire Verde is. Did you guys hear it? Did you hear me tell you how useful Fire Verde is? But yep, that's pretty much it, you guys. If you liked the video, feel free to like it. If you haven't considered subscribing, hit that button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.